It's 50,000 BC. The cold wind whips around your Neanderthal body as you warm yourself with your mate. Well, your mate for today. Nia, you whisper. Oh, dag, she says as she falls into your arms. You get down to business, not minding the fact that the woman is your cousin. Seriously, life was tough and kinda crazy for Neanderthals in a lot of ways, especially when it came to sex. And those crazy sex lives led to their disappearance, or sextinction. In today's episode of the Infographics Show, we'll tell you all about the insane sex lives of Neanderthals. Number 6. Neanderthal cave hopping. You might picture Neanderthals as shorter, more muscular, hairier humans with weird sloped foreheads, and you'd be mostly right except for the hair. But those short, jacked kings got around. Scientists think Neanderthals had more partners than early humans, but much like spring break, their horniness depended a lot on the weather. When temperatures were colder and food was harder to find, the average Neanderthal preferred to have just one partner to couple up with, sort of like cave painting and chill. But when summer came around, all bets were off the table. The clan can stick closer together because they don't have to roam the land looking for animals and plants to eat, meaning that there's more contact between different Neanderthals. And that's when Dag suddenly notices that his other cousin Mara is looking fine these days. It's cool, she's from his mom's side, unlike Nia. We'll explain why there are only relatives in this Neanderthal love triangle later. He decides to get busy with Mara as well, since now he can find food for way more people, and there are other Neanderthals close by to help out. Scientists believe the reason for the multiple notches on the cave wall is down to the digit ratio theory. Basically, more testosterone generally means a longer ring finger. So scientists decided the closer the index and ring finger are in length, the more aggressive and competitive a species is, especially when it comes to mates. The Neanderthal skeletons scientists have found all have way longer ring fingers than early human skeletons of the time, so some sources think they competed more for mates and slept around more. That being said, Neanderthals like Dag were still more monogamous than their other closest relatives, apes, chimps, and other mammals, and it's all down to their penises. Number 5. Pain-free private parts. Neanderthals' private parts featured one big difference from other large apes: no spines on their penis. Yeah, you heard us. Apes have spines on their penises made up of some of the same material that skin and hair is composed of. The spines clear out any sperm from other mates already in the female ape while having sex. They also make females less willing to have sex with others immediately after because the spiky spines hurt. Let's be honest, chimps are not the most romantic of species. When humans and Neanderthals independently evolved about 600,000 years ago, they both lost their spines, and womankind everywhere breathed a sigh of relief. Neanderthals built societies that needed more cooperation and collaboration, which favored monogamy. Not perfect monogamy, but a trend toward couples in general, especially when times were tough. So they didn't need the spines to clear out other men's sperm. We really hope you haven't been eating when watching this video. If you are, we're sorry. Number 4. Fatal attraction. Your middle school health teacher was right. Sex can apparently kill you, especially if you're a Neanderthal. One theory says that when the Neanderthals and humans had children, the human genes won out. Let's say Dag wanted to mate with non-cousins for a change. He walks across the plain and bumps into Karen, taller, slimmer, and human. She looks a little strange. Why is her forehead so straight? Why is her nose so narrow? But he's still interested. He opens his mouth to try to talk to her, but he realizes Karen can't understand him at all. Dag thinks for a minute, then motions for Karen to follow him into his cave. Inside, he picks up some charcoal and starts drawing a figure of a man and a woman together. Karen looks at the drawing and Dag's muscles, and she smiles. She moves in to kiss him. Karen and Dag spent a wonderful night in the cave. The next morning, Karen goes back to her clan and eventually realizes she is pregnant. She's seen this thing happen before, and she really hopes the baby looks more like her. Not because she's vain, but because she knows that it's going to help it survive. Neanderthals may have been shorter, but they were also broader, heavier, and needed a lot more energy to stay alive. Around 600 to 700 more calories a day than a modern human to feed their sturdier bodies. The climate cooled around 40,000 years ago, around the time that Neanderthals died out, making food less readily available. This means Neanderthal genes would have been bad for survival. Kids who got more physically human genes had better chances, leading to mixed kids becoming more and more human over time and less Neanderthal. Neanderthal-human sex was also bad for Neanderthals in other ways. Number 3. HDFN. Scientists found a blood disease called HDFN, hemolytic disease of the fetus and newborn, in both human and Neanderthals, but it seemed to be much more common in humans. That meant Neanderthals didn't have much natural protection against it. So when they mated with humans, they got more genes for HDFN in their own population, which killed a lot more of them. Even though Karen and her baby left Dag behind, if the genders were reversed and the woman was a Neanderthal, her baby would have stayed with the Neanderthal tribe. The baby would eventually grow up and mate, most likely with other Neanderthals, passing this gene on. So, when the HDFN gene made its way through the Neanderthal population, it limited the amount of babies Neanderthals could have and how much the population could grow. These low population numbers lead us right back to Dag's weird relationships with his cousins, Nia and Mara. Number 2. Keeping it in the family. Scientists found a lot of evidence of inbreeding among Neanderthals, something humans thankfully phased out pretty early. The most famous finding was at El Cedrón in Spain, where 13 family members, including couples who, based on their DNA, were also extended family members, were found in a cave. Pretty much all of them showed marks of inbreeding, including deformed knees, baby teeth that never fell, and other issues. And if that wasn't bad enough, scientists concluded their lives ended via murder and cannibalization. The 3 adult men found were brothers, while the women were most likely the men's partners. So Neanderthals probably did a lot of what early human societies did as well. When a man found a woman, the woman would leave her family to stay with his family. The difference with human societies is that the woman's DNA showed that they were kinda related as well, just not as closely. This wasn't just a freak accident in El Cedrón. Similar knee, thigh, and arm deformities common for inbreeding were found in Neanderthal skeletons all across Eurasia. However, unlike European royal families, scientists don't think that Neanderthals kept it all in the family on purpose. They think the explanation for Neanderthals having sex with relatives was there just weren't that many of them around. A combination of groups breaking apart to find food, less ability to cover long distances, and more competitiveness than humans led to smaller and smaller social groups. So when Neanderthals were looking for mates outside the extended family, there just wasn't much choice. Except for humans, who, as we saw with Karen, turned out to be equally bad for their survival. Number 1. Social circles. This is where scientists think the digit ratio theory also played a part. Humans, who were more monogamous, less competitive, and had less testosterone, formed bigger groups and quickly realized inbreeding would be bad for them. Bigger social groups also allowed each couple to have more children, as more people in the community could chip in to help raise the kids while the parents were off finding food and building shelters. So while Karen may have had a dozen or so unrelated men to pick from and quite a few neighbors to help with the kids, Dag probably only had a few related women and no real help. This led to fewer kids and more similar genes in the Neanderthal population, which meant less chances for survival and eventually the sextinction of the Neanderthals as a whole. Now that you learned all about Neanderthal sex, check out what happens to your body while you're having sex, or click this video instead.